there's so many visions and views of AI. It's here to stay.
Yeah, for sure.
And the best thing that you can do as a person in business, even in your personal life, is learn how to use it to your advantage. Now, I'm not saying that people think AI data center, right? There's a different conversation to be had about.
When you surround yourself with a bunch of really great people, great things happen. Now I've got essentially a COO that I wake up to every morning that's giving me a rundown on everything that happened yesterday through the night and that I have to work on in the coming day. And it gives me an opportunity to just really have that bird's eye view of things. It's like having a personal assistant without having to pay a person to do that.
Guess what, guys? Spring's on its way. Spring's on its way. Spring's on its way. With another day, it's okay. Everything's okay.
Thank you for coming on the show today. This is 30 Minutes on Q, the podcast. I am your host, Coach Q, and today we are here with one of our community staples. His name is Jason Bass. So tell people, and I say this lightly, but you do so many things in the community. So tell people who you are and what you do.
Well, thank you for having me. I know we've been friends a long time, so not that I've been waiting for my invitation, but I'm glad to be here.
Yes.
Jason Bass, Hunter is my middle name, which confuses a lot of people because my business is called Jason Hunter Design. They always wonder if there's another person behind the curtain or something, but no, it's me.
This is the first time that I realized
that light bulb. Yeah, it's always been a really good conversation starter when people ask, who's Hunter? And yeah, I tell them the whole story of how the business started, but I could go there, but we definitely only have 30 minutes, so I won't. But in short, my wife and I moved down here to Sharpsburg 11 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's about right. And I knew that I needed to get involved in the community if I wanted my business to grow. Right. And as it turns out, the business community was just so warm and welcoming that I ended up making a lot of true friends.
Yes.
And as a result, the business grew. But when you surround yourself with a bunch of really great people, great things happen.
Yeah.
And, again, kind of going quickly through some stories. At the Chamber of Commerce in Fayette, I met Tommy Ruth. We came up with the idea of Night Market. We happened to be working for the CVB in Peachtree City at the time, and they loved the concept. So they took it to the city, and the city said, yes, let's do that. We'll support you. And we're almost 9 years of doing Night Market now, which...
Okay, so let me slow you down really quickly because this is going to go out to the community, and the objective is to get the community to know who you are, what you do.
Sure.
What is Night Market?
So Night Market is an event. We started in 2017, and we expected there to be maybe 500 people who came out to the event. Mm-hmm. And what it was at the time, which is not much different from what it is now, we have artisan vendors that are set up in like a horseshoe formation. We've got 2 bands that play live music from the stage with professional sound and lighting. And I mean, it's a concert, essentially at a festival. The artisan vendors are what make it more of a market. And then in the parking lot area, we've got, usually there's about 8 to 10 food trucks selling all variety of food. And one thing that really, I think, made it unique from the beginning is that we could have alcohol.
Okay.
I know that's not really important to a lot of people, but it is also important to a lot of other people. And when you have a few drinks, you get a little bit looser and you can just talk to more people, and the energy just elevates. And we've in 9 years never had an incident. I think people are very responsible. But I think it all kind of is because of the vibe and the culture of what we've built, right? Like it's just not that kind of an event.
Right.
So when I bring Night Market to other places, there was some concern about like, oh, people are going to get drunk and it's going to be a problem. And I'm like, that's not what Night Market is. No. And you've got to trust that the brand is going to bring the right people to the event. And that's what we've seen happen over and over and over again. I've lost track of how many actual events we've actually put on, but as I mentioned, we started in October of 2017. So next October, just a little bit more than a year from now, we'll be celebrating 10 years,
which is fabulous, man. And I think, the way that you market the Night Market it's not an every week thing. And I think that keeps people from getting burned out with it. They tried in Tyrone to do a food truck night, but they were trying to do it every day of the week, and it fell flat. And I said, people have to have something to look forward to.
Yeah, I agree.
And I just this week, some of my clients that live in Tyrone, I told them about the night market and that they should actually go. And they said, when is the next one? So I had to look it up, and it's coming up in September.
Yeah, we just announced that like yesterday, though. So good timing that you
Right.
happen to be looking.
Exactly. So, I think it's, let's not kid ourselves. In the community, you're in the pages, you're in the community pages, you see how much tension there is in our communities, in our country. I think anytime that I talk to someone and they're, griping about politics, the first thing that I say is get out into your community.
Yeah.
Go see the people in your community, because your vision, your view is going to change when you are around people in an environment like the night market where nobody's talking politics.
No.
Nobody is
yeah.
trying to posture for anything. It is just a good community, wholesome time.
Yeah.
And
For those people who aren't familiar, I'll just paint the picture for you, right? So in Peachtree City, it takes place on Drake Field, which is right on Lake Peachtree. They built a gorgeous pavilion there that the bands play from.
Mm-hmm.
And on the field area, which I don't know square footage or anything, it's a pretty large field. I'd say the event is from 5 to 10. I'd say about 4:30, people start to show up. They put down blankets and chairs, and then they go out into the parking lot to wait online for the food trucks to open so that they can beat the lines. They take their food back to their blankets, they eat, then they go walk around and shop, all while listening to music and literally bumping into neighbors that they might literally live next to
exactly.
and never talk to. And it is so rewarding for me to be able to just honestly sit back from the shadows and just watch that happen.
And you built quite a team to help you
Oh yeah.
do this. I mean, it's people that, you and I became familiar because I came to one of the 1 Million Cups,
Yep.
which is another venture that he does. He's got the shirt on right now. He's got the night market. He's got his design firm. He has the 1 Million Cups and Citizen.
And the Citizen and the Nexus and Brewery Hours. There's a long list of things that I'm involved in. And
Right.
I mean, and I'll gladly talk about all of them, but I think what I read, that one-liner, it distills it down to why I do those things
Yes.
is because I like bringing people together. I like creating communities.
Yes.
So, I mean, even the Citizen, the way that all came about, Trisha Stearns and I, we started a newsletter called The Pulse only to be able to make sure that people knew what was going on. Selfishly, I wanted to make sure they knew the night market was one of those things that was going on, right? And
Yes.
1 Million Cups and Startup Fit and all the other events that I do, I wanted to be able to push that out there. But it was also important to me, and I mentioned already, I live in Sharpsburg. I'm not even a Peachtree City resident,
Right.
but I spend
Or
a
even
lot
Fayette
of,
County.
or even Fayette County for that matter. But I'm around people often enough to hear what they complain about. And it bothered me that they didn't know that they had an opportunity to speak up and to have a voice.
Yes.
So the Pulse was a way for us to push out the information about where people can show up and how they can be heard. And when the opportunity to buy the Citizen came along, Trisha and I were like, yes, it's a no-brainer. We brought on Ellie White Stevens as the editor, and it's rocking. I mean,
Yeah.
what the changes, I mean, as the graphic designer, the web designer, I was able to rebuild the entire website with a whole new face. The newsletter looks completely different, and our readership has gone up. At this point, it's probably 6 times what it was when we took it on.
And I gotta stop right there, because like I said, this is a community building podcast, the same way that you build community with the night market. I had an opportunity 2 weeks ago to interview Leonardo.
Nice.
And what the intent is behind this is to go behind the curtain to actually talk to the people who are doing the thing that sometimes people complain about. And
Yeah.
I've had this conversation with Ellie, and now I get to have it with you. I read The Citizen because, one, my wife is a
Yeah.
is a contributor,
A great columnist.
and I read your column. I read,
you.
a lot of the different things that are in there, and it grinds me when I hear people attacking your political stance or the paper's
For the
political stance
Right.
when it couldn't be more centrist.
Yeah,
know?
but you have to understand, like, there's left and there's right. And if you're starting on either end of that and you're being asked to move even a little bit, that's a lot of change.
Yes.
And people are going to be upset about that.
Right.
So we expected that. But our objective is to be middle of the road.
Right.
I mean, talk about AI. I literally have an AI trained to be middle of the road so that anything that we're putting out on social media, especially like, because we share every article that gets posted, gets shared on social media. And of course, you have to put up a little caption, right? So the caption has to be middle of the road. We are not trying to pull one way or the other. That's not what it's about. It's just about letting people know what's going on. And if there's a certain voice that wants to submit and be heard, that's great.
I've seen it. Yeah.
If somebody's going to complain that the other side's not being represented, that's only because they're not speaking up. Submit.
Or it could just be the simple fact that people don't read.
Well, yeah. Or they read what they want to read.
They read what they want to read, the things that support their views. And so I'm happy. You and I have never had a political conversation.
Yeah.
And I've run for office twice
Right.
now in Fayette County. And I think that just because of the relationship that we have, you've been behind the scenes supportive of what I'm trying to do to help the community to grow, which is another reason why I asked you to come and sit down, because I sit in admiration all the time of what you do. He's got 3 kids and does all these other things. And so, for anybody that, we talk about mindset, the mindset of doing, right? Because you are the prime example of a person in the community that is constantly doing, and you and I had a conversation about scheduling. You schedule your workouts.
Oh yeah.
You schedule family time. You schedule your business time. And with all the businesses that you have going on, you have to compartmentalize. And so speak a little bit to how you're able to manage those things with everything you have going on.
No, it's a constant struggle. And if I'm being completely honest, it's the summer. My 3 kids are home with my wife. There's no alarms set in the morning. So like my normal, and it literally is in my calendar to go to the gym from 8 to 10 in the morning. Mm-hmm. That has not happened since school got out, and it probably will not happen until we're back into the school routine. Yeah. And that's okay, because being home and spending that extra time with them in the morning, even though it to them doesn't feel like it's a lot, it matters. That time really matters. And when I show up at the Nexus, which I can also talk about, the Nexus, I'm there from 10. My alarm goes off at 4 o'clock to leave. On Mondays and Fridays, I don't allow any outside people to book my time. That is time available only for my team, or teams rather. That could be a JHD team. It could be the night market team. Whoever needs me internally, I get to give them my time on Mondays and Fridays. In the summer, Fridays may not happen because I might be heading down to a lake, right? All back based on, again, investing in family time. But when it's Tuesday through Thursday and I'm at the Nexus from 10 to 4, it's kind of fair game, right? What I'm going to be working on. My team has gotten pretty strong where I haven't felt the need, like I'm not the one putting out fires so much now. In fact, I've got some really great big opportunities, clients right now that we're working on, and I'm minimally involved.
That is so great.
And going back to the AI thing, like now I've got essentially a COO that I wake up to every morning that's giving me a rundown on everything that happened yesterday through the night and that I have to work on in the coming day. And it gives me an opportunity to just really have that like bird's eye view of things. It's like having a personal assistant without having to pay a person to do that. But that's been a life hack for me.
And I, there are so many visions and views of AI. It's here to stay.
Yeah, for sure.
And the best thing that you can do as a person in business, even in your personal life, is learn how to use it to your advantage. No, I'm not saying that, people think AI data center, right? There's a different conversation to be had about that.
Or AI was a term that everyone knew. Data centers were a necessity because we were all given this beautiful piece of technology in our hands that we could use to access the internet and take pictures and videos and post them on Instagram. Where do you think that goes? Right? I mean, I went to a concert and saw every single person in there. What?
With their
25 to 80,000 people in this arena with their cell phones. even if it's only living on quote unquote their phone, it's being stored in the cloud.
Exactly.
Right? The cloud is a data center.
Yes.
And yeah, it's a shame that nobody wants anything in their backyard.
Right.
And I don't want to turn this into a political thing. I know that there's pros and cons to it. And but it's one of those things that we're going to have to figure out a way to live with.
Look, I tell people this all the time. Would you give up your internet?
No.
Right? Nobody's going to give up their internet. Nobody's going to give up their cell phone. But I'm in agreement that, there is a thing called moderation in communities and in business and everything else that we have to deal with.
Yeah.
And those are the things that we should actually be looking forward to now. So there's always a workaround, and there's a way to satisfy the needs of the community and the needs of business.
Yeah.
And I think, you are a great person in this community to talk with about those things, because you have several businesses that depend on the community.
Sure.
But they also depend on the technology, and they also depend on the local governments to pass good ordinances, good laws, and those things. So, I think it's incumbent of people to hear this from the people that are actually out there moving the needle.
Yeah.
Instead of, sitting at home, retired behind their computer, complaining about it. And so, with my business, I am trying to, at this juncture of my life, figure out how I can use AI to not have to work so much, because there's only a certain amount of hours in a day that you can actually be physically present.
Right.
And I want to we just took our first vacation since we've been here.
Wow.
In June for my wife's birthday. I said it was for her birthday, but it was actually a waiting to exhale trip for the both of us, because campaigning twice,
that's exhausting,
building the business, doing all the things, and then trying to make a difference.
Yeah.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
And so it was good to we went to Tybee Island and had a decompression weekend. And that's kind of how I came up with the thought of doing this right now.
Yeah.
And I pulled the trigger right off. Let's go, and I love talking to people. That's another thing. So with that in mind, like I said, this is an opportunity for people to get to know who you are. So I have some questions on this sheet.
Yeah, sure.
And these questions are going to give people an opportunity to know a little bit more deep about you.
I love those conversations.
So we're gonna start it real simple. What's your favorite book?
My favorite book is the book that I'm reading, right, at any time. I just said this yesterday. It's funny you're asking me this question, but I feel like I'm a very susceptible person.
Okay.
Meaning, like, I watch a movie and I get deep into that movie, and it affects the way that I start to think about everything, right? So I have to almost be careful with what I watch.
Okay.
And reading, of course, is the same. So a good friend of mine, Cornelius Gamble, he asked me to read 10X is Easier Than 2X.
Okay.
Fantastic book. And it opened my eyes to see possibilities that I hadn't considered before. And before the book was even over, I got a client that the client profile, like they were 10X what every other client I thought I was going after was.
Okay.
Right. So that's what I mean. Like, what I read comes into it, what I think comes into existence.
Right.
I know that I'm not alone in that. There's power behind that. I want to harness it correctly. So I choose to read books that are going to help me move that needle. So my wife, for my birthday, she bought me The Magic, which is the sequel to The Secret.
Okay.
By Rhonda Byrne.
Yes.
So I'm sort of in the middle, more towards the end of that book right now. And I'll give you a spoiler alert. The TLDR here is that the magic is gratitude. So I've been immediately starting to practice gratitude more.
Okay.
And yesterday, I read a chapter in the morning, and it basically said to look at your calendar for the day and to give thanks as if that event had already happened. Yes. So I knew that I had a meeting at Launchpay It. So I said, thank you for bringing me into a meeting that had such incredible impact and opened up more opportunities for me. Mm-hmm. I went to that meeting, and afterwards, the director of Launchpay It, David Conti, said, hey, if you have a minute, I'd like to show you something. And what he showed me, I'm not at liberty to share because I don't know if it's going to become a reality yet.
Yeah.
But that thanks that I gave in the morning was directly relating to that.
Yeah.
So my favorite book is right now it's this one, and I don't know what's next. I've got a stack of them that I want to read, and whatever I feel picking up, I'm sure will have an immense impact on how whatever happens in my life next. Right? So
My wife and I were having the same discussion this week, and because the books, I just finished reading Hidden Potential.
yeah,
And those are the kinds of books that interest me because I am the same way. I look at what can make me better
right,
in business, as a person, in the community, what can make me better all around. And I am the thing that makes me better, the way that I think, the way that I move, the way that I act. And so, yes, so I get it. But my wife is, she can read 3 to 5 books a week.
Katie's like that too. My wife,
And
yeah.
it's like science fiction
Yeah.
stuff, stories. And I'm like,
For her, it's more murder mystery.
okay.
But I'm jealous of how fast she can read and get through. And
But we're
I
reading
take
for a
one.
different reason.
right,
though.
exactly.
We're reading
I want to
to
stop and think about everything I'm reading.
and put this in your brain.
Right.
And so
put it into practice and then
Yes.
come back and work on more. Yeah, it's a very
Absolutely.
different style of reading.
what are you passionate about?
Wow. I feel like that should be easier to answer. But I'm also hung up on just how cliche it sounds to say, like, I'm passionate about community. But I think for me, community isn't Fayette County, Coweta County, Sharpsburg. Like, community is my neighborhood. Community are the people who come to the Nexus every day. Community is the people who are part of 1 Million Cups on a weekly basis, right? Like, community, and it shows up different for me in different places.
Okay.
Community can literally be the relationship that we have,
Right.
not this grandiose,
It's not
thousands of
it's not
people
a
who show up in
physical
night
thing. It's actually a combination.
it's
of
a
things.
feeling, right?
Yes,
It's a
yes.
it's a feeling. So I know I live in Georgia. We're in the Bible Belt. I was raised Jewish. I'm not really religious at all, and I'm okay with that because I have found community. I may be making other people upset right now, but I feel like most people gravitate towards religion because they want that sense of community.
Hey, I'm a PK, dude. My father was a pastor, and my journey took me other places. And I'm not like you. I'm not a religious person. I'm very spiritual. I'm very connected.
Right.
I see a lot more to this and how much more connected it is than separate.
Yeah.
And I think that's the point where that point of nirvana that people are trying to get to and trying to reach. I think that's it, man, where you can actually see what connects us all, what binds us all. So if passion was a hard question for you, then this is going to be a little bit easier.
Okay.
What inspires you?
Oh, I mean, literally everything. I guess you could just say nature, the universe. I say nature because I do literally mean like going and getting lost in the woods or just being outside. But I also just mean nature as in the things that are around us. I don't know why this is popping into my head, but I'm going to share a story. I was probably 19 years old driving in northwest New Jersey. So just beautiful open roads. And I remember coming up to a red light and looking down out of my window and seeing I don't want to throw a brand under the name. I'll just say a soda can on the ground.
Mm.
And for some reason, it was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. I mean, it's litter, right? Like someone could be fined $1,000 for littering. And I'm thinking that this thing is beautiful, but it wasn't the soda can. It was that me and this soda can had this moment together. Like, where did it come from? Who threw it out the window? Where did they even buy it from? Did they even like soda, or did they throw it out because they didn't like? All of these things just get me thinking, right? And that moment when I was 19, however many years ago that was, scary to admit, they happen. It happens every day though. Like every person that I meet, every leaf that flies by, like it's almost exhausting because everything that I see feels inspiring. Now, what I choose to do with that inspiration is a different story, right? I mean, we've got a lot of ideas. You can only act on so many. But I'm inspired by everything and everybody.
So I want to blow your mind with this one. What you just described is called being present. Right?
Yeah.
There's I've read several books on the practice of Buddhism.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a religion. Being present allows you to connect with things in a way that most people don't, you know? And I will tell you, I'm a coach. I talk nutrition, I talk supplements, I talk all these different things. And there is a supplement called L-theanine.
Okay.
And there's another one called lithium. Every morning, these are 2 supplements for your brain health.
Mm-hmm.
And I swear to God, I can't take them before I go to sleep because my dreams are that much more elevated.
Oh, wow.
But I take them in the morning and my day is that much more focused.
Right.
My house was built in 1979.
Uh-huh.
And cleaning up the property and seeing different things, I said Pepsi can because I saw the same thing.
For you too.
There was a little can in the ground and it was halfway in the dirt.
Right.
So I took out my phone and I took a picture of it
Yeah.
in portrait mode because I'm like, that's art,
Yeah.
you know?
Right.
But it's a piece of trash in the ground.
Right.
But it's the way you perceive it, right? And so that's, you know, I totally get what you're saying. And I think that, like I said, that's a position where people are trying to reach, you know, in meditation.
No, thank you for acknowledging that. I never looked at it that way, but that feels really good.
Yeah.
Because if you ask me, I would say like, you know, what I desire is to be more present. And it's always a work in progress, right?
But
like
you explain getting lost in the woods.
yeah.
How good does it feel when you're in the woods and you're just lost in the woods?
Yeah.
You're not thinking about anything else but how gorgeous the trees are,
Right.
the sound of the creek or the river or whatever might be, the birds,
Right.
all the stuff that's a heightened sense of presence, right?
Yeah.
And so I try to daily stay there, you know, just like this interaction right here is a heightened sense of, you know, the moment of right now. So
Right.
that's cool. What is one of the biggest misconceptions about you?
Or wonder why I do the things that I do, because like, how is this going to serve him? Right. Like that, I feel like that would be a question. Well, here's one. So night market again, right? I mean, the event now draws anywhere between 3,500 and 5,000 people, and people see that. Some people see that amount of people and they think, wow, this event is killing it. He must be doing incredible. Like, I walked away with like $800 in profit.
Yeah.
Like having 5,000 people there, 10,000 people there, like that doesn't change how much money I am able to make. Right. So I think that's a misconception. You know, even standing in front of the room at 1 Million Cups every Wednesday, I mean, I do this one slide that thanks sponsors and some of my logos are up there and I blow through that slide as fast as I can. Like, I'm not there to self-promote. That's not what 1 Million Cups is about, but it's not who I'm about. In fact, most of the time when I meet people, it takes a long time for me to come up with how many ways I can help them. It's just, it comes up naturally, there's no agenda. Yeah. I think that sums it up. Like, I think people might assume that I have an agenda. I really don't.
Yeah, dude, that is the perfect analogy right there. Name something that you're not very good at.
Wow. First thing that popped into my head is time management, but here we are talking about how I structure things. And I think I am further along than others, but I definitely don't have a grasp on how long it takes to do things. The only reason that I was in your parking lot for 30 minutes before this meeting is because I was on a phone call and it didn't make sense to make another stop. But like literally, I'll be late to my own funeral. I have no idea how long it takes to get from point A to point B.
Yeah.
And I am consistently late. I mentioned earlier, my alarm goes off at 4 p.m. to head home. So why don't I get home until 5 or 5:30? Like I just lose track.
You must be part Romanian because that's
that's funny.
You know, what's one of your most challenging career moves?
Consider that I started Jason Hunter Design when I was a junior in college. I did have other jobs here and there. In fact, I was a high school art teacher for a year. I managed a pool company like I've had
like
some
pools.
Yeah, swimming.
Oh, wow.
Well, like more like HOA swimming pools where like a lifeguard had to be on duty.
Gotcha.
So my job was to drive around basically the state and make sure that all of these people were showing up on time, doing the job the right way, that the bathrooms were clean and the chemicals were on, right? But that was more of like a managing people job than it was a managing pools job. But in any case, I've had lots of little jobs like that, but Jason Hunter Design is kind of all I know. It's what I've done for almost 25 years now. And career wise, like I can't say that I've had challenges. Now, all of these little sub brands and businesses that I built, they all come with challenges.
Right.
And if I'm being honest, none of them are wildly successful because I've not really stepped up to the plate. You know, I think my focus has never been given to these other ideas. So I create them and I hope that it's going to take off and then people use it and they thank me for it. So I keep it going, but nothing has ever like taken off. And I know the reason is because I've not given it my focus. I take any one of them and put me focused on it. And I'm sure that it would be great. But what I've learned later in life now is that it doesn't have to be me. So if I can identify the right person, because it doesn't have to be me, the right person can step in and do wonderful things with all of these other brands that I've created. So, you know, I guess I'm putting it out into the universe that if there's people who are interested in looking to run a business, like I might have a few that you'd be interested in, right? But in the meantime, I just keep them going. And as long as people are using them and appreciating them, then I'm happy.
They're there, right? Yeah, good. As long as you can live, you know?
Yeah.
As long as you can live. What's one of the funniest things that happened to you recently?
A couple of years back, my wife and I were at her parents, my in-laws' lake house in Lake Martin. And we left the house to head home. And it was torrential downpour. So we had to pull over and my stomach was upset.
Okay.
So you can kind of imagine what was going on in the car. And it was so bad that it was funny. It was so embarrassing. Anyway, for some reason, my wife decides to share that story with my 4-year-old. My 4-year-old that thinks that farts are the funniest thing in the world, right?
Yeah.
He goes to camp one week this summer and shares that story with his teacher. That was definitely the most embarrassing thing that has happened to me. And I'm neutralizing that now by sharing it on your podcast because
now everybody in the community knows.
No, anyone who's listening can now know about this embarrassing moment that my 4-year-old shared with his world, right? And that was something that brought literal tears to my eyes laughing when my wife shared that with me.
If you had a superpower, what would it be?
Again, cliche, right? Every last Friday of the month, I go into Atlanta for an event called Creative Mornings, and they give you a name tag, and it's, write your name, but it also says write your superpower. Mm-hmm. And I always put that my superpower is community. So that's my default answer. But last night we were watching a show, and they were talking. The narrator of the show was saying how when she was younger, she always had these dreams where she was flying above everything. And it was almost like she was swimming in the water, but flying in the air. Gotcha. And that is what I would like my superpower to be, to fly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, when I do meditation, okay, so I'm a little bit of a, like I say, I'm not going to say freak. I've gone really deeply into this to understand. I did a thing with some Native Americans that teach you how to find your spirit animal. And so I was a hawk.
Cool.
I'm like, that is awesome. And so being able to visualize and meditate as a hawk is insane. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
I learned a lot about hawk yesterday on a different podcast. That was, it's a great animal.
Listen, we have, and I'm surprised you don't hear it right now, we have a family of hawks. There's a hawk out this door.
Yeah. I've actually seen some pictures of your hawk.
Right? It's 4 of them.
It's awesome.
It's the mom, the dad, and 2 juvenile hawks that are flying around here now.
That's awesome.
And the mom has been here since we moved here.
Wow.
Probably even before then.
Yeah.
And it was smaller, but now it's huge.
Yeah.
And she comes so close that I'm like, I'm going to buy a glove. And I'm going to trap that thing and train it.
Yeah.
Just so that when I go outside, it can call the hawk and it just comes over.
Yeah.
That'd
be really cool.
And then I'll channel through the hawk.
Yeah.
So if you were not doing the things that you do right now, any career choice that you could have, what would it be? I
honestly don't have an answer to that question. And I think it's a self-preservation thing where I wouldn't allow myself to think of something else because that means that I'm not as committed to what I'm doing.
So you're happy in the space?
Oh, I love what I do. I love all the things that I do. And I love that I found this purpose of building community because it's given me reasons to do the things that I do. Mm-hmm. I really couldn't imagine doing anything else.
Okay.
I mentioned David Conti before, right? He just left working for Leonardo at the Chamber to go take over the role of director at Launch Bay, and like he is alive. Like he just feels like this is exactly what he was supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And I don't envy that. I feel like I have that. I just want to point out that like people who are happy where they are, but then they're given this new opportunity and all of a sudden they feel just this new energy.
Yeah.
And I think being an entrepreneur and creating these things that I create, like that gives me this renewed energy, but I honestly can't imagine doing anything else. I also can't imagine not doing anything. Like the idea of retirement to me.
That was going to be my next.
Oh yeah.
Stole that one from me, but
I don't.
But you're right. I Nora and I talk about this. I love what I do. I love the fact that I can help people become better versions of themselves.
Yeah.
Like help you
ever want to stop?
Why would I want to stop doing that? And something you said a little bit earlier, I mentor other coaches, and I've done this throughout my entire career. And I said, I can teach you exactly what I know, everything that I know, but I can't teach you how to be me.
Right.
And it's the me part of business that actually helps us to succeed. And so, yeah, I totally get that. Okay, I'm going to give you a softball, really easy question here. Who's your favorite superhero?
Iron Man.
Oh, wow.
And I think it's the technology piece. I really like, and now that like I shouldn't say we've all, I know a lot of people don't use AI the way that I do, but I've really embraced using AI. Like I mentioned that, you know, my personal assistant that sends me an update every morning, right? Like that's Jarvis for me. It's not named that, but like, yes, it's Jarvis. Like
you can name it.
I totally, my marketing is Margot. She's the marketing assistant, greatest of all time.
Nice.
I've got names for them. But yeah, I mean, I think and I know his character develops throughout and maybe turns into someone that I don't necessarily want to be, but in early on, I mean, that suit and just how like I don't even remember the thing, but it's called the hard thing that keeps him alive. Like building things with my hands has always been really fun. I'm a creative person. So like putting things together is always really fun. So yeah, Iron Man.
Okay. So as a father, as a business owner, you know, community impact leader, what would you like for your legacy to be when you're done from this earth?
I guess it would just be like, he built that, you know, I don't even know what that is, right? Like the marketing company is not the thing that I feel like people are going to be like talking about. Although there are many marketing companies that have been around, advertising agencies that have been around. The people who founded them died and their name is still on the door and people know about it that way. That would be kind of cool if it lived on. But this isn't like a legacy business that I certainly hope my kids are going to pick up. So, so I don't know what that is, but my legacy I'd hope would be that I'm recognized for doing something that meant something and that those feelings continue on for a long time after. Right?
All right. We're getting close here to the end. So tell people something that they don't know about you.
I am an extroverted introvert. So basically, I love and cherish my alone time, and I desperately need it after I do what I need to do, which is showing up as an extrovert and being out in the middle of the community or in front of a room, right? So I can show up and be the extrovert that I need to be, but that introvert in me just is very something that I really cherish. Ironically, something that people don't know about me is that when I was in high school, I wrestled my freshman year, but I was recruited, if you will, to be a cheerleader, and I quit wrestling and I cheered for my sophomore, junior, and senior year. Got recruited to cheer at Rutgers University, which is there were only 2 art schools in the country that also had a competitive cheerleading program. Rutgers just happened to be 20 minutes from where my parents lived. I did live on campus, but I cheered there freshman, sophomore, and junior year, and then remained coaching for many years after that. And I just think it's funny, like looking back now, to think of myself as a cheerleader and certainly such an extroverted activity, right?
Yeah.
But it was more about the personal challenge for me. I mean, I was throwing girls above my head and catching them with one hand, right?
Yeah.
As we got further on in the career, like they had to spin on their way up. Like, it was crazy. And to think of myself doing that now is wild. So if anybody was to meet me and guess, I don't think they'd ever be able to guess.
There are going to be people in Fayette County now that are going to see you and go, "Oh, bust the move."
I've
right?
got lots of videos, but I'm not about to show you anything.
I'm about to make a connection right now. We were just talking about a Hawk. Now we got cheerleader. We don't know who's behind that Hawk uniform.
Look at that. Look at that.
Fridays.
Yeah, hey.
Listen, I really feel the extroverted introvert because most people think that I'm an extrovert, but I so enjoy my alone time. There's times where I go by my pond and it's just me, and I'm watching the water, watching the fish, listening,
Yeah.
and it recharges me.
I can't imagine that there's people who don't need that.
Yeah.
Right. The other people who like need to be around other people.
Well, I don't know, but living in the city, in a busy city with all that noise, some people.
Some people need that. They thrive on that. I'm burned out from that.
Yes. And listen, man, I really appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah. Thank you for
to
having me on.
allow the community to get to know you on this level, to be here to sit with me to do this, man. I look forward to another conversation. I know that we could probably talk, and we probably have talked past 30 minutes, but listen, this is community. It's how we build community. So thanks again for coming on, man. I appreciate you.
It's been a
We'll
pleasure.
talk again soon.
Thank you, Q.
All right.
Swings on his way, swings on his way, swings on his way with another day. And it's